Hello everyone, today we have a story about. When I was a teenager growing up, my brother and I had a friend that came from a divorced family. His parents had been divorced since he was a toddler. His mom chose a drunk that beat her over her kids. So he more or less lived with us during high school. From the time he was 15, he worked 2 sometimes 3 jobs. Bussing tables, cutting grass, whatever to pay for his car. He got a job at a local electrical co-op. There was a man, acting as his mentor. To this day I don't know what the man's job was, he wasn't really a supervisor. So my friend did all this guy's dirty work. The guy sent him to the CEO's house every weekend to clean his yards. Guy had a mansion and lakes on about 100 acres. But even while he was still in high school, he now had a full-time job at the co-op. Night dispatcher. From 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. he took the service calls when people had no power. Pretty good full-time job, for someone in high school. The guy reminded him daily of his good fortune. Then he started having to go to the guy's house and cut his grass, take out his trash, feed his dog. When the man went out of town, my friend had to go stay at his house, and could not leave. On the weekends we wanted to go out and party, he couldn't go because he had to house sit. Because he had that evening job, he was able to go to college during the day and get a college degree. For about 6 years, my friend did everything this man wanted him to until the big day finally came. A big-time supervisor job opened up at the company. Office job, with a title, a company vehicle, the works. The man hired his niece's HS dropout boyfriend with 0 work history, all the while telling my friend he was getting the job. Obviously, my friend immediately lined up another job and put in his 2 weeks' notice. The guy then informed him that he would have to pay the company back for the work-related tuition assistance he received. He had to set up some kind of payment plan to pay the company back. The following tell. During my first marriage I inherited a wonderful stepdaughter. We had 2 daughters together, and one Christmas my grandmother sent presents, but only for our little 2, not my stepdaughter. I try to see the best in people, so I call my dad to see if she forgot. Well, we all know when people are caught off guard, they blurt the truth. Apparently, she told my dad that if she had to buy gifts for all the stepkids they would be on the poorhouse. Mind you, this is her only step-grandchild, and at the time she is at her vacation home in Az. Now, I'm pissed. I box up the gifts and send them back to her with a letter saying family is family, it doesn't matter who gave birth to that child, she is my daughter. She just didn't get it, still doesn't. And my dad, for fear of getting written out of the will, sided with grandma. So we don't talk either. It's sad, but I stood my ground and for cause. I may not be married to the girl's dad anymore, but I still love her as my own. The following tell. My girlfriend's mother abused her for 27 years before she sought help and got away. She has a 2-year-old, and her mother still wants custody even though the court has told her no. The week leading up to Christmas her mom flooded her email box with emails asking her when she is going to kill herself, telling her that nobody likes her, suggesting methods to end her life, etc. It would take too long to type it all out, but it's worse than any horror movie. It may not be a betrayal in the traditional sense, but it is a betrayal for any mother to do this to their flesh and blood. Edit. Thanks for the advice everyone. She tried the police thing last year. Manipulative mother turned it around on her, cops did nothing. This year she just wants to ignore, even though there is plenty of evidence. Her mother has broken her pretty bad. I'm doing my best to put the pieces back together, it doesn't help that she is just now recovering from surgery too. She's been dealt a shitty hand in life. My father cut me out of his life. The price of our relationship to him, $20,000. He always was a deadbeat, but I never saw it. He was my dad, I always saw him through rose-colored glasses I suppose. Parents were divorced when I was 5 and my brother could see through his bullshit but I couldn't. At 10 my brother stopped visiting dad altogether and saw him maybe 5 times in total through his teenage, adult life. Not me though, I was always there for our dad, when he was sad because he cheated on his GF, spoiler alert. He cheated on all his GFs, and she left him. I gave him my cat to keep him company while I wasn't visiting. I always defended him to my brother and mom, but truth be told he always was a rather terrible person. I saw this as an adult, but heck, he's my dad, I love him anyway. Brother kills himself and dad finds out he's entitled to 50% of my brother's estate. Dad tells me not to worry, he won't be going after my mom for his 50%, he will sign whatever needs to be signed and won't cause problems. 2 weeks later mom calls me and says dad won't even sign the paper so she can move on with dealing with the estate, never mind signing away his half. I called him assuming there was some sort of misunderstanding. He proceeded to yell and scream at me that I was a money-hungry bitch just like my mother, blah blah blah. This way he could justify taking the money and fucking off, which is exactly what he did. I didn't need that kind of anger in me, so a couple months later I did send him a message, letting him know I've forgiven him for what he's done and I hope he's happy and well. Never heard back. Meanwhile I then had to explain to my 2 boys why they aren't seeing grandpa anymore either. This was our second Christmas with no brother or dad for me, it's still very shitty. The following tell. Roommates and I were going to be moving into a new place, but I was waiting for them to give me a copy of the lease to sign. They waited until moving day to inform me that they didn't want me to move in with them. I had 12 hours to find a new place to live and had to move in with my girlfriend for a few days. I learned the hard way that nobody at that time liked me, so I changed my personality for the better. Edit. For those curious, I was a total asshole during this period of my life. I drank heavily, I was annoying even when sober, I never cleaned the apartment, I had a shitty girlfriend that nobody liked. And when I got drunk at our weekly parties I would take off all my clothes. This was nearly 10 years ago, and I'm going to say that while at the time I was very angry at my roommates, I've since forgiven them because even though they did it in a shitty way, they showed me that nobody liked me. My only true friend told me that everyone was talking shit about me behind my back. Since then I've worked so hard on my personality to become somebody that everybody likes. 5.5 years ago I joined A to stay sober, and haven't had a drop since. I am now able to maintain friendships with people who like me. Thanks for watching, come back again.